Andrea, has my son talked to you yet? You know, about the holiday trip we're planning for next month. It's going to be so much fun!
Hi, Mother. How are you doing? Yes, Alex told me about the family trip. We're all going to Wisconsin Dells for a week with the kids, right? I'm looking forward to it.
Well, yes, you're half right. So are you planning on joining us then?
Yes? That was the plan, I think. At least that's what my husband said to me. Me, Alex, the 2 kids along with you and Dad, right? That's what we agreed on, right?
Yeah, that won't work. Sorry, Andrea, but you'll have to stay behind. See, if I tell my son any of this, he's going to explode on me again, so I'm asking you personally. It's just me and my husband are getting old. We don't know how much time we have left to enjoy these family trips. I need my family around me for as long as I can.
I see.
Sorry, but you understand, don't you? I need my family with me for this trip. These moments are better without any outsiders, you know. Me, my husband, and our precious son. And our grandchildren, of course. They're so adorable. All of us who share the same blood.
Mom? They're both still under 10 years old. Caden just started elementary school. I'm not sure it's a good idea to send the kids if only Alex is going to be there.
Don't be silly. We're also going to be there. Me and my husband can take care of the kids just fine. Are you saying you don't trust us to watch over the kids because we're elderly?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just thinking you all want to enjoy your family trip, right? I'm just worried that you won't be able to relax while having to look after 2 children.
Andrea, my grandchildren are coming with. I'm not discussing this with you. I can't have a wonderful family vacation without my grandchildren there. If you're so concerned about the kids being supervised, I'll just bring my daughter with. There, problem solved.
Mom, please don't. She just had her 2nd child a few weeks ago. She can't possibly go on vacation with a newborn and also look after 2 of my kids. That's too much for her.
Well, Andrea, do you have a better idea? I will not ask anyone outside of my family to come along. What else would you have me do?
They can just stay at home. I'm sure they won't mind spending the week with their mom. I don't feel comfortable with you asking your daughter to look after my kids. Plus, without 2 little kids to look after the whole time, you guys will be able to enjoy your trip.
Absolutely not. You're trying to jeopardize this trip, aren't you? My grandkids are well behaved. They wouldn't cause any trouble on the trip. Perhaps they don't respect you as a parent. That's why you struggle to handle them. But they're always well behaved when they come visit us.
I don't think that's the case, but regardless, Caden struggles with his asthma whenever he goes to a new place. I'm scared he might have an asthma attack when he goes with you guys.
If that happens, we'll just have him stay at the hotel. He should be fine inside the room.
But he's especially sensitive to allergens at hotels. We have to book places that are clean specifically for people that suffer allergies. Plus, who's going to look after him when you guys are away?
Little Charlotte can look after him, can't she? She's already in 5th grade. I'm sure she can handle looking after her brother.
No, I don't think that will work. I'm sorry. I won't leave my daughter to look after her asthmatic brother alone. If anything happens to him, she won't know what to do. That's just plain irresponsible. Please, can't you reconsider taking the kids? I'm 100% sure my husband would agree with me that he can't look after the kids alone on vacation.
That's where you have to convince him. I'm sure you can manage something that simple, right? Be a good daughter-in-law and get your husband to take the kids along. I'm sure Caden will be fine if he takes his meds and asthma pump.
Mom, you don't understand. If anything happens, he has to be taken to the emergency room.
Goodness, Andrea, stop being so negative all the time. This is why I can't stand outsiders interfering with our family. You people are always trying to tell me and my family how we should do things. Keep to yourself for once.
I'm sorry. But Mom, I have helped you and Dad out with bringing you groceries and your medication when you couldn't go out. I tried my best to visit Dad when he was in the hospital. I've also been trying to attend all of your family gatherings, but you're always treating me like a stranger.
Those are all the bare minimum for a wife. You should be doing those things without expecting anything in return. What, do you want a medal for bringing us groceries? In our day, the wife will be doing all of those things without any thanks, because that was her role. I was right thinking it would be a waste trying to discuss this with you. I'll just explain things to my son. He can get upset with me, but my say is final in this family. Don't go telling him behind my back that I didn't want you to come with. Do you hear me?
Sure, I won't tell him.
He's always whining about how I need to treat you better. Even though I'm asking you nicely like this all the time, I don't get it. Maybe it's because you keep going behind my back and telling him I'm some terrible mother that's bullying her daughter-in-law.
Of course not. I would never say anything bad about you behind your back.
Fine. If that's the case, I'll leave it at that. But don't even think about snitching to your husband about this. If he calls me one more time complaining about how I treat you, I'm going to have a bone to pick with you. Understand your place as an outsider. I only treat those related to me by blood with kindness, and since we're not related, you are not entitled to an ounce of kindness or respect.
Hi, Mom. The coal delivery you sent just arrived. Thanks so much for always sending us these cuts of meat you guys get from your neighbor. We really appreciate it. I see you sent lamb and beef cuts this time. I might even ask Alex if he'll braise us some of the lamb shoulder for tonight.
I'm glad you got the meat. Make sure the kids have plenty to eat tonight. Especially my little Caden, so he can grow up strong and healthy.
I'll be sure to let the kids eat their fill tonight. Thank you.
Oh, but you remember this is just for the kids and my son, right? We're still clear on that? This is a gift for my lovely family, of course.
Yes, Mother. I'm still aware of our agreement. I'll stick to my pasta salads, you know. I don't enjoy having that much meat anyway.
Good, good. I'm glad we can see eye to eye on one thing at least. If only you could be this reasonable when it comes to other things. But I'm still worried. I can't be sure that you aren't helping yourself to some of the meats I send my husband and the kids. I can't exactly see you when you're eating. For all I know, my son might even be encouraging you to have some of the stuff he barbecues.
I assure you, I've got a delicious recipe for chicken pesto pasta salad that I'm going to make tonight. Then the kids will have their braised lamb shoulder. I don't know how I can convince you, Mom.
I'm still not really convinced, but guess I can't go over there to check either.
Well, sometimes I'll make chicken salad with the leftover chicken meat you send.
See, I knew it! I knew you were helping yourself to the things I was sending for Alex and the kids. You're always like that, aren't you? Always pretending to be nice and staying in your place, then you show your real intentions.
But that's just leftovers, Mom. I can't go throwing away perfectly good food because you don't even want me to eat a single bite. Alex insists that I use the leftover meat for my cooking.
I knew my son was too generous. Can't trust that man to protect our family.
I'm sorry, Mom. I don't know what you want me to do, though.
Perhaps having the leftovers fits you better. like a mutt begging to be given food scraps at the end of dinner. I think that suits you, actually. You may continue eating your sad leftover food scraps.
Mother.
No need for thanks. You can kiss up all you want, but that's all you're getting.
No, I'm trying to say, me and Alex have been married for over 10 years now. This entire time, I've been trying my best to get you to accept me as family. And yet you still treat me like garbage? Maybe I'm not doing enough to receive your approval, but I feel like you don't have any intention of ever accepting me into your family, no matter how hard I try.
Oh, Andrea, that's just what it means to be a wife and a daughter-in-law. This is your reality. I suggest you start getting used to it. You get invited to all the important family events like marriages and birthdays and such. Isn't that good enough for you?
I guess. But I deserve to be included in more than just those things, don't you think?
Andrea, you're not a blood relative. That sets you apart from everyone else, understand? You'll never be any more than an outsider.
What about your daughter's husband, though? You treat him like everyone else. Why can't you treat me like that? I feel like you're just making up excuses to justify your hatred for me.
Don't go pointing fingers like some petty child. You're a full-grown adult. Act like one. Besides, I'm sure you feel the same way about your parents and the rest of your family. We're just a bunch of strangers to you as well. You'd pick your relatives over us anytime. It's nothing personal.
That's not true. I want to be included in your family, but you're always treating me like trash.
Just accept that you are always going to be an outsider. That fact will never change, so it's best that you just move on already instead of whining like this the whole time.
You know what? Fine. I guess you're right. Things are never going to change. I just have to accept that and move on.
There you go. See, that wasn't so hard.
I'll prioritize my family from now on, because I'm clearly never going to be good enough for you.
Glad I could finally get you to realize that. It's nothing personal, dear, I promise. Just focus on being the best wife you can be to my son and the best mother to my grandkids. That's all I need from you.
Hi, Megan. I heard from Alex that his dad has been admitted to the hospital to have his kidneys treated. He also told me he's going to need 24-hour care from now on. I hope he has a speedy recovery.
Yes, he's not doing too great at the moment. I'm quite troubled, really. I'm not sure how we're going to handle his care once he comes back from the hospital. And we were having so much fun last month while we were on vacation. I didn't think his condition would worsen so quickly.
I'm sure he'll be okay. If there's anything we can do, just let us know.
No, it's fine. There's no point rushing now anyway. He just needs to rest right now. Besides, I doubt there's anything you'd be able to do for him.
Right. Anyway, I assume you heard from Alex? That we're coming over tonight? We'll be coming over to discuss what needs to happen with your husband's nursing care after he's discharged from the hospital.
What? Don't tell me you're coming too.
Yes? Alex asked me to come along.
Andrea, how many times do I need to tell you this? These things are for family members to discuss. I won't be having some outsider deciding what happens to my husband. This has nothing to do with you anyway. You're not family.
But he's going to need specialized care going forward, isn't he?
And? What's that got to do with you? You don't need to concern yourself with our affairs. Don't come.
As you wish. I'll stay at home and tell my husband that he can go there alone.
As you should. Me and my children will decide what to do. You don't have to get involved with this, you understand?
Yes, I understand. I'll keep myself out of your family's affairs.
Good. You would only slow us down. At the end of the day, we have his best interests at heart. I can't trust that you will know what he needs.
Yes.
This is why I hate dealing with people outside our family, honestly. All you try to do is interfere with what's best for everyone in the family. Even the damn doctors at the hospital are like this, always trying to interfere. So do us all a favor, and don't ever try to involve yourself with my family again.
Of course. I'm sorry I brought it up in the first place.
That's all you do, isn't it? You think you can just apologize and all will be forgiven. I bet you're probably happy my husband is getting so sick all of a sudden.
What? Why would you think something like that?
How would I know? Not like I can tell what you're really thinking. But I know you hate me and my husband.
That's not even remotely true, Megan.
To think I have to call you my daughter-in-law.
Well, nobody is forcing you. Especially since you don't even consider me family and all that.
Alex insists that I treat you nicely. That's why I have to do it. But if it wasn't for him, I would have barred you from ever interacting with our family.
I figured as much.
Honestly, you, not my husband, should be suffering in the hospital right now.
I think that's crossing the line a bit.
All you do is push my buttons. My poor husband shouldn't be sick right now. You ought to be sick in his place. I begrudgingly treat you with kindness at my son's behest, but you never show me any respect. I wish my son would have married his first partner. At least she wasn't a spineless worm like you are. If I had known how useless you were, I would have stopped this relationship between you and my son before it even started. You hear me? Morning, Andrea. My husband is finally being released from the hospital this weekend, and we've decided on his aftercare plan.
Glad to hear he's being released from the hospital. What have you guys agreed on?
I assume Alex isn't home yet then?
No. Last thing he told me was that the discussions were finished and that he was heading home.
That's fine. I'll tell you instead. You will be looking after my husband from now on. We agreed that he will go and stay with you and Alex, and that you will be caring for him in the foreseeable future. I'll, of course, help around the house. Don't worry, dear.
I'm sorry, Megan. I'm not following. What do you mean I'll be looking after him?
Don't you worry, dear. I know you might be thinking the commute will be too much for me to do every day. That's why I'll be moving in with you as well. This way I can help around the house and you can focus on caring for my husband.
I'm sorry. I really don't understand. I don't think that will be possible.
Don't be silly, Andrea. Everything will be fine. We'll have a nurse come in every couple of days to help you out. I'm sure Alex can help look after the kids as well. That's what family does for each other, after all. We help each other out in times like these.
No, Megan, you don't get it. My family is already living here.
What?
My parents moved in with us last week. They're living with us at the moment. I'm afraid you and your husband won't be able to move in with us.
What? What are you saying, Andrea? No, you never mentioned any of this. Alex never told us your parents were living with you.
My husband and I agreed to let my parents come live with us. We all agreed to this weeks ago. Unfortunately, you'll have to figure out some other plan for your husband because it's simply not possible for you two to come live here. I also refuse to do any kind of nursing care for him. I don't feel comfortable looking after an elderly person on my own.
Andrea, if this is some kind of joke, you best stop this right now. I don't know if you're trying to be petty or something, but this is not appropriate.
I'm not joking, Megan. I'm very serious right now.
You're seriously living with your parents?
Yes, they moved into the unit connected to ours, so we're all living under the same roof now, technically.
Why wouldn't you tell us any of this? We spent weeks discussing my husband's nursing plan. We can't change things now. Everything is riding on you taking care of him. Are you trying to make a fool of me? My husband is very ill. He needs someone to look after him. We can't just change our plan now.
If anyone is being treated like a fool, that would be me. 10 years of being married to your son, and you never stopped treating me like a complete stranger. And now you want me to help you out like we're family? You're the one who said I shouldn't concern myself with your family's affairs. Why should I have to look after your sick husband all of a sudden? You've gone off the deep end if you think I'm going to let you move into my house out of nowhere.
Andrea, I am your husband's mother. You will respect me and listen to what I'm asking of you. Do you understand?
I'll listen to people who actually care about me and treat me like a human being instead of some trash on the side of the road. I don't owe you anything. No respect, nor reverence, or anything. Especially after I spent years trying to gain your approval. You never once tried to accept me as part of your family. All you ever did was complain about outsider this and blood relatives that.
Yes, well, what do you expect us to do now? Who's going to look after my husband now? He can't stay with me.
Me and Alex have been suggesting that you put him in an elderly care facility since the very beginning. Especially since you can't take care of him on your own, but you wouldn't listen, would you?
Just do it yourself, Andrea. We wouldn't even be having this discussion if you weren't so damn selfish.
No! I don't want to look after him. You know why? Because you people don't consider me family. Even after more than 10 years of being married to your son. You told me not to get involved with you or your family, that I shouldn't have married Alex, that I should have gotten sick instead of your husband. Why would I want either of you to come live here, much less look after your sick husband? And my husband told me I don't have to involve myself with either of you two ever again.
But he didn't tell us anything. He wasn't against you taking care of my husband.
He just told me he couldn't get a word in today when you were discussing things. You told him about your plans for me to take care of his dad, and he was absolutely speechless. When he tried refusing, you just talked over him, so he just left. Maybe if you let him explain things to you, you would have known now that my parents are already living with us. I don't know how you assumed I would be fine with any of this, honestly.
That's ridiculous. What about my husband, then? Are we supposed to just put him in an institution now? How can you expect us to do that?
Well, if you can take care of him at your own home, then you should just do that. Maybe try hiring a nurse to look after him or something. Like you said, it's none of your concern. Then again, if you are planning on relying on me, I assume you can't do either of those things, can you? If you care about your husband, you'll put him in an elderly care facility.
But he doesn't want to. He wanted to stay at home. We were all depending on you. Everything would have been fine if you would just stop being so petty.
It's amazing that you think I would help any of you out with that kind of attitude. You treat people like garbage, and then you expect them to just go along with whatever you want them to do? Maybe you should go check yourself in with your husband, because there's something dangerously wrong with you.
Andrea, I'm sorry. You're right. I couldn't possibly expect you to let me live there. I'm sure I would just impose on your parents after all. But please, could you consider just looking after my husband still? I'll stay at my home and come visit and help with the chores.
Are you seriously still trying to smear this off on me? How many times do I have to tell you this? I am not going to look after anyone, especially not your husband. Why should someone like me, someone you consider a complete outsider, have to look after your husband?
I know I treated you a bit harsh sometimes. But regardless of that, can't you at least agree that we are in some way family? I still think of you as my daughter-in-law. So couldn't you at least consider caring for my husband?
If that's how you treat your in-laws, I have no intention of ever being involved in anything that has to do with your family. All you cared about was my husband and our children. You try to pretend you were never in the wrong. You ignore all of your horrible actions. And then when it's most convenient for you, you try to force the outsider like me to take over your responsibilities.
Andrea, dear, please. I'm sorry for everything. Just, please consider helping me with this.
I don't need your apologies. I know exactly what kind of person you are from how you treated me for the last 10 years. Like you said, I need to face the fact that this is what it means to be your daughter-in-law. That I'll forever be an outsider. And so, as an outsider and a stranger, after that, my mother-in-law and her husband came to our house to ask us to let them stay there. My husband said no and threatened to call the police if they trespassed. He also said he would cut them off if they brought up his dad living with us again. My husband agreed to help with his dad's nursing care, but he told them to never contact me again. They were good grandparents, but they always excluded me from family gatherings, and my children didn't like that. I only let them see their grandparents with my husband. My in-laws can't visit us. Megan gave up on having her husband at home and put him in a facility. They fought a lot over it. He didn't want to go. She barely visits him. They're both mad at each other. I don't know or care what will happen to them. I'm staying out of their business. Maybe they'll regret what they did, but I doubt they'll change their views. I hope they leave me alone. My husband and my parents get along well. We all live together now, but we have our own space and entrance. We haven't had any conflicts. My husband is less stressed without his parents around. The kids love having their grandparents close by. They visit them often. My husband suggested having my parents move in with us, and he's been supporting me all the way. He helped me cope with my in-laws' harassment. I wanted to get along with them, but some things are impossible. I'll focus on enjoying my time here with my parents.